Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to do my weekly live stream, but I was lazy and I didn't come up with any topic to talk about. But that's okay. I figured we could just have fun hanging out and chatting. I see there's already people in the comment section asking questions, which is awesome. So anyways, I have been on YouTube for 4 years now. A little bit over 4 years. I think I started my channel. I posted my first video like March 4th or March 5th, 2017. So it's been a crazy ride. My channel started off as something very different than what it is now. I originally was just posting videos specifically for my students for them to watch in between lessons so that they would have something to practice Spanish in between lessons. And now, look at me. It's been crazy. I have a whole bunch of projects that I'm working on now, mostly language-related stuff on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. We're doing our open source language stories project with stories in all kinds of different languages, and that has been growing. There's the 30-day record yourself challenge that we've been working on here, and a lot of you have participated in that, which has been awesome. So anyways, I'm gonna just start answering some questions. As usual, anyone who has any question at all, just go for it. Ask any question, whether it has to do with languages or the Green Bay Packers or the number of molecules in my butt. I don't care. I will answer if I know the answer. Okay, how many languages should you learn at once? What if you're learning 3? There's no should. So you can learn a number of languages all at once. You can learn quite a few languages all at once, but you're not gonna learn them well. Learning 3 at once is gonna be a stretch. 2 at the same time is usually the maximum that I hear people successfully do. 1 is preferable. Depends on you though. It depends on your goals. What do you think about the colloquial program or SML? I'm not familiar with either one of those, so I can't say very much about that. I apologize. I've never used SML, and I don't know what the colloquial program is, but if anyone else in here knows anything about that, please feel free to share in the chat. Next Lifetime says, I see the record yourself challenge on Hello Talk all the time. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. That has blown up. For those who don't know, the 30-day record yourself challenge is just a way to motivate you to start speaking your language, the language that you're learning. The reason I created that is because I see so many people get stuck in this area where they're not speaking the language, which is a mistake. Now, different people have various ideas about whether you should start speaking your language right away, whether you should wait 3, 4, 5 months before you start actually speaking the language. But you have to start speaking at some point. You cannot learn your language through to fluency without speaking, unless you don't want to speak. Maybe you're learning Latin or Sanskrit or something, fine, whatever. You don't need to speak those if that's not your goal. Most of us want to converse with other human beings though, and at some point you just need to start speaking. You cannot force your way to fluency on Duolingo. Okay, you need to talk to someone. And the 30-day record yourself challenge was designed as sort of a baby step in that direction, because you're recording a video of yourself speaking. It's not as scary because if you say something stupid, delete the video, right? Record it again. And so what I say is the 30-day record yourself challenge is a baby step towards leaving your silent box, the little room that we wall ourselves in that we never want to leave because it's safe and it's comfortable when we're not speaking our target language. Okay. The 30-day record yourself challenge is designed specifically to combat that fear. What's my advice for 2 languages at a time? What's your goal? Are you trying to learn both of these languages really well? If that's the case, then my advice is to practice one at a time. Stop learning one for now until you learn the other one better. Now, if your goal is just to have fun and okay, you say Chinese and Spanish, taking Spanish in college, private lessons for Chinese. Like I said, what's your goal? Do you want to become fluent in Spanish and in Chinese? You're gonna have to focus on one, I would say. Everyone's different, but focus on one for now. Spend 2 years, a year, 2 years, 3 years maybe, focusing on Spanish. And then once you become really good at Spanish, then you'll have a basis off of which to keep maintaining your Spanish and then start learning Mandarin. If your goal is just to kind of reach a B1, B2 level and and have fun in the language, then cool. Do what you want with that. Maybe block off half an hour a day for each language. Spanish and Chinese are sufficiently different from one another that you shouldn't confuse them too much. Although I do on occasion try to say Thai words when I'm speaking French or Spanish. Okay, yeah, Billo says Lamont stopped French. Right, his channel is literally called Days of French and Swedish, and he stopped speaking French because he's trying to focus entirely on Swedish. Exactly. Okay, Peggy, do you think that languages, music, and math have something in common? I think it's like a right brain thing. I don't know entirely how much the right brain, I think the right brain, left brain thing is an overly simplistic way of looking at psychology. But yeah, they have a lot in common. Music uses you need to know math to a certain extent in order to understand music theory. And we all follow some sort of certain logic. Oh, sorry, I just had to let out a really loud fart. Did you guys hear that? There's like some construction or something in the building next to me. I apologize. I didn't know this was going to be going on. Okay. Man, that's terrible. I don't know if you guys can hear that, that construction. Okay. Vincent, saluton. Vincent says, I heard you use Pimsleur before. To talk about what level you think that program will take someone who finished level 3 or higher Pimsleur. Yeah, so it's terrible. What are they doing over there? I don't know where this is coming from, but I apologize. It's going to just sound like fart sounds all day. Okay. Yeah, I like Pimsleur. For French, I used Pimsleur all the way I started with level 2 because I had already known some French, and I used it all the way up to level 5. And it's not the best, but it's helpful. I found it to be helpful. It was really nice for me because I was commuting to school an hour each way. So I had to do something to fill my time. And Pimsleur, and so it was easy just to put it in a Pimsleur CD and listen to it as I was driving to school. As far as what level it can take you to, not high. Like, you need to do something else other than Pimsleur. Now, it can be a good supplement to, like, if you're doing a lot of comprehensible input, if you're doing a lot of conversation practice, then Pimsleur can be very helpful to supplement your other language learning methods. But by itself, if you're just using Pimsleur, it can take you up no higher than the A levels, right? Because when you're in A1, A2, you're essentially memorizing some set phrases that you'll use in specific situations, right? It's once you get into the B levels that you're able to start actually being a little bit more creative with the language and actually saying what you want to say rather than just spitting out memorized phrases, which is what Pimsleur teaches you to do. The other thing that Pimsleur is really nice for is helping you improve your pronunciation, because you're listening to a native speaker and then there's a pause for you to repeat what the native speaker says out loud, and you're actually moving your tongue. All right. And it takes a lot of that before you start to actually be able to emulate what the native speakers are sounding like. Okay. Hey, Keek says, hey, I can't say, but I just wanted to pop say and say hi. Congrats on 4 years. Thank you. Thank you. It's been a crazy 4 years. Davey says, my goal is to watch anime and understand it, but I am not a native English speaker. You want to watch anime in English? Yeah, you know what? That's a good goal. That's comprehensible input. Right now, I'm reading some manga. Is that how you say it? Manga? Or like graphic novels in Thai. And I am surprisingly, just a month ago, I was reading Mani Mana children's books. I was reading through these kids' books that are designed for kindergartners or first graders, and I was able to understand most of what I was reading, right? Which is fine. But now I'm reading through graphic novels, and I owe that to a lot of comprehensible input, conversation practice too. And a little bit of focused vocabulary acquisition on Memrise and on Closemaster. But mainly comprehensible input. And now I'm getting so much input. I will sit and read. I have an app on my phone where I can just find free graphic novels in Thai. And I just sit and I read for like an hour. And I get so much input in that hour. It's really helpful. I'm progressing quickly. All right. Do you like Costa Rica? I am from there. Tenemos un tico. Pura vida. Okay. Lamont from Days in French and Swedish dedicated his channel to studying 2 languages at once and then admitted he shouldn't have divided his attention. Yeah. I don't like to use the word should or shouldn't. Okay. Because really it's up to you. It's up to what you want to accomplish. Moses McCormick, rest in peace. That's funny. Someone literally just said that. Lao Shu video, rest in peace. Yeah. Studied a crap ton of languages, didn't learn any of them really well. I don't know. Maybe some of them, he like Mandarin and a few of his first languages, he learned pretty well. Okay. He knew so many languages to a very low level, like an A1, A2, maybe B1 level, right? Moses McCormick was not dedicated to becoming fluent in any language, but he had a lot of fun speaking a crap ton of languages at a very low level. And man, watching his videos where he was just able to go to a mall and speak any language with all these people out there, and he was like surprising them and shocking them with the fact that he was able to speak Wolof and Hindi and like all of these very uncommonly learned languages. Wow, he had a great time, and that was his goal, right? He loved interacting with people in many different languages, in many minority languages, and that was his goal. Most of us have a goal of actually becoming pretty proficient in a language. So most of us should not be dividing our attention. It is better to focus on one language, keep going with it until you get to a pretty high level in most cases. Okay. take that with a grain of salt. Okay, Tsushima said, I discovered you today because of your Laoshu video, rest in peace. Is there really any way to get to that level? You got to be a guide in order to reach Laoshu's level. Yeah, man, you got to spend time practicing, and he did, you know. He spent a lot of time practicing languages. And also ask yourself, is that what you want to do? Right? Most of us don't want to do that. Laoshu was one of those just special individuals who was able to be disciplined enough to spend the time learning a language that very few people speak in his city. Some, but very few. Okay, Davey says, how much time do you think someone could get fluency when you keep using comprehensible input? I want to become fluent in English. I already understand a lot of non-learning English content. Yeah, good. Just keep doing that. You know, keep following YouTube channels, watch Netflix, do whatever you can. There is no time period, right? If you dedicate your whole life to it, if you're learning English all day, every day, depending on your native language, you should be able to make massive gains in just a few months. Okay, if you're a little bit more, what would you say, amateurish or like part-time? Amateur is not a good word. Like not quite as wholeheartedly dedicated. It's going to take years, right? Languages, they take time. If you want to learn a language very, very well, it's going to take years or decades, and you will never reach native level proficiency in the language that you're not a native at, right? That's a goal for a lot of people, is to reach native level. You want to be mistaken for a native speaker? Sorry to break it to you, it just ain't gonna happen. And people think I'm being negative. It's not like pessimistic to say that. It's just realistic. Okay. Once you reach a certain age, you can't learn a language like a native speaker anymore. You just won't be a native speaker. All right. I thought it was a beginner band class. Yeah, no, it's the, I don't know, they're doing some kind of construction in the building next to me. All right. Mi parolas iomete Esperanton. Mi tre ŝatas ĝin. Mi amas ĝin. Yes, mi ankaŭ amas Esperanton. All right, Nick Brooks says, what is your focus of this video? What is the emphasis? English, psychology, or what? No focus in this video. I normally bring a topic to discuss in my live streams. Not today. You know, for those of you who are tuning in to this video, I try to do a live stream every Friday. For me, it's Friday right now. I realize for many of you, it's Monday night right now. I'm sorry, Thursday night, but for me, it's Friday. So anyways, I try to do a live stream at this time every week. So, you know, if you feel so inclined, come join the live stream. I'll be here this time next week. By the way, if you haven't yet, I would really appreciate a thumbs up, a like on the video, just because, you know, that helps my channel keep growing. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Dinner last night is not agreeing with me. Okay. So obnoxious. Can you guys hear that? Oh, it's terrible. I hate living in the city. I'm definitely a country person. Okay. I want to understand anime Japanese, but I say I am not a native level speaker because there's more material to study Japanese and English, not too much Spanish. If you want to learn Japanese, I definitely recommend following Matt versus Japan. He has a very good, I interviewed him on this channel a few months ago. He has a very good method for learning languages with comprehensible input. All right. Davey says un tico, yeah, or un costarricense. Any tips for remembering what Thai tone to use? Common words I remember naturally, but I tend to forget the tone of less rare used words. No, I'm still learning Thai. One thing that really did help me learn the Thai tones, though, was saying all of them. So ma, right? I would say all of them with one word. Nu, right? And just choose one combination of vowels and consonants, like ma or nu or whatever, and say all of the tones with those vowels and consonants. Especially if you can find a native speaker to say them for you. There's a few videos out there. You can YouTube. You can do a YouTube search for Thai tones, and you'll find videos of people explaining the tones. I don't really want to watch a whole video of someone explaining the tones, especially in English. What I really want, by the way, if there's any Thai speakers out there who need an idea for a Thai video, if it's just a video of a native Thai speaker saying all 5 tones with similar words like ma, whatever the 5 tones are. I butchered that last one there. That was very helpful for me in being able to hear the difference between all 5 tones. So, do a Google search for that or YouTube search. But also, if you happen to know any Thai speakers, if you have an italki tutor or someone who can help you with that, or maybe record a personal video to send it to you, that would be very useful, in my opinion. It has been very useful to me. In fact, maybe I will create a video like that, now that I think about it. I don't have a Thai language channel, but I do on occasion do videos with my Thai tutor, crew mom. Okay, greetings from Brazil. Bom dia. Or I guess for you it might be bon noche, right? Saluton el Peruo. Okay. How long does it take you to get really good at Chinese, in your opinion? I wouldn't know. Never learned Chinese. I will say if Chinese is at a comparably difficult level as Thai, for an English speaker, it's taken me a long time. I've been learning Thai for close to 2 years now, and I'm at like B1 level maybe in Thai. Yeah, it's been slow progress. Now, granted, I haven't been learning Thai actively during that whole time because I moved back to America and I thought I was never going to come back to Thailand at that time. How times have changed, right? So I haven't actually been learning Thai for 2 years. I've probably been learning Thai for a year and a quarter, maybe just a little bit over a year, actively learning Thai. But yeah, and I could have also put in more effort. I could have put in more effort. I swear he's doing that on purpose. I could have put in more. I could have put in more time and effort to learning Thai. But, things are what they are. Okay, where is the people that you usually... Wait, sorry, I just lost that comment. Where is the people that usually watch you from? A lot of people from America, Canada, Europe, Australia, all over the world. Now I'm getting more and more Thai viewers since I've been talking about learning Thai a lot. I also started this TikTok. It's crazy. I was not on TikTok at all. I'm a millennial. I'm not a Gen Z, so I I don't know what TikTok is all about. I'm on Twitter still. You know, I was the MySpace generation, which lasted for like 2 years. So I was all over MySpace in high school. But yeah, so now TikTok is the cool thing, right? And so I created a TikTok and I started doing my 30-day record yourself challenge in Thai. And I created it last year, and I had like 10 subscribers or 10 followers like earlier this month. And then, I don't know, for whatever reason, I made one video of myself speaking Thai, and apparently that one started trending in Thailand because I went from 10 TikTok subscribers to 120 over the course of like a week. And then I made one video that just got a whole bunch of views, and I went from like 120 to 2,000 subscribers the next day. So now I guess I'm a TikToker now. Forgot what I was saying that for. Oh yeah. So anyways, all that to say, now I have a lot of followers from Thailand because I created that video of myself speaking Thai. My TikTok is all just me speaking Thai. Okay, I guess you use Anki. How do you manage decks? One per language or multiple? I don't use Anki that often. I have used Anki. Yeah, it's just one of those things that I kind of use sporadically. Right now I'm using Closemaster, and I kind of like it. Don't love it, but I like it. And I think I might like it better than Memrise or Anki so far. Gives you a lot more flexibility than Memrise. I guess I shouldn't say a lot more. Okay, Anki is very customizable, which is a great thing. Memrise is more streamlined and like more user-friendly, I guess I would say. Closemaster is maybe somewhere in between the two of them. Anyways, I decided I'm going to give Closemaster a try for 2 months, and then I'm going to do a review video on it. So I will have more opinions to say about which spaced repetition system is best coming up here in about a month or so. Ego of the Census. I haven't watched much of your channel, but I want to start learning a language soon. I have tried in the past, but I always end up stopping because I feel like I can be too lazy to do it every day. Yes, that is a problem. So for people who don't know how to learn a language, a lot of times they just go straight to Duolingo, which is fine. I think Duolingo is an okay introduction to a language. It's an okay way to start. It's fine if that's fun for you. And if you use Duolingo for 10, 20 minutes a day because it's fun, sure. Okay. I know a lot of people who think they have some sort of obligation to use Duolingo for an hour a day. They say, all right, now I'm going to be really dedicated to learning Spanish. So I have to use Duolingo for like an hour or 2 hours a day because I'm really kicking my butt into gear and I'm really going to learn Spanish this time. No, you ain't. Not if you're using Duolingo. This farting jackhammer construction guy is driving me nuts. Okay. Anyways, Duolingo is not the key. Duolingo can be like a marginally beneficial side learning project. Okay, what you really need are comprehensible input, meaning try to read stories, read content, read the news, read something interesting to you, or listen to it, okay, on a podcast or something. Comprehensible input. You need conversation practice. So find an italki tutor to practice talking to. Find a conversation partner on HelloTalk. Okay. And you just need a lot of vocabulary words, focused vocabulary acquisition. So that could be on Memrise, it could be on Closemaster, it could be on Anki, it could be on the spaced repetition system on Link. That's LINGQ, by the way. I see David. I'm answering your question kind of preemptively. I really like Link because it's great for comprehensible input. That's LINGQ. By the way, if you are interested in signing up for Link, let me go to it's link.com /en okay, link.com /en /Finctum languages, or maybe it's just a regular slash. I think that's a regular slash. I'm going to put this link in the chat there. All right, if you are interested in subscribing to Link, use that URL that I just put in the chat because you can save 35%, and I get some of them. I get like a small commission on that. And I don't recommend Link because of my affiliate status with them. I've been using Link for years, and it's really helpful, in my opinion. I don't know many people who dislike Link who have used it. So yeah, that's that. Link isn't the best for people who are just starting. I think it's okay. When you're brand new to a language, like in your first month of language learning, I would say that's the only time when Duolingo is more useful than Link. Just because you don't want to be overwhelmed with all of this new content your first day of learning a language, right? Like you open up a story in Link and all of the words are blue. You've never seen them before. You have to look up every single word, and that's not fun. You can do it. I did it with Greek. I would just rather have something a little bit more structured for my first days and first weeks learning a language. After a month, though, you should have been actively learning a lot of vocabulary words during that first month with something like Anki or Closemaster, or maybe not Closemaster. I'm not sure about that yet. But you should have been learning a lot of vocabulary words somehow. Maybe Anki or Memrise would be a good choice for that. And then after a month, Duolingo stops being very useful, and Link starts to become progressively more useful, and it will stay useful forever. All right. I've been learning French for like 5 years now, 4 years, something like that. And Link is still useful to me. I still use it. I'm reading Les Miserables in French using Link. And, this is a much more advanced book than I would have been able to read 3 years ago in French. And thanks to Link, I'm able to do it. So, Tsushima says, going to pass out now. I really appreciate your words, bro. Have inspired me to continue forward. Awesome. That's what I'm here for. I love these Ask Me Anything chats because for exactly that reason. Favorite speaking practice? Do you have any way you approach online tutoring? Yeah. So the best advice anyone ever gave me in language learning was before I moved to El Salvador. And I said, if I live in El Salvador for a year, will I become fluent in Spanish? And this very wise friend of mine said, you will if you're not afraid of looking like a fool. If you're afraid of making mistakes and if you're embarrassed, you won't learn Spanish as well. You can learn some, but you won't become fluent. If you're not afraid to make mistakes and look like a fool, you will learn Spanish. And I find that to be 100% the case with friends of mine who just go for it. They just go into conversations and they just speak to people. They just hang out. They just have a good time. They just recognize, I'm a language learner. Language learners make mistakes. right? We don't know all of the words. Sometimes we have to explain ourselves around a word that we don't know in an odd way. Okay, if you don't know the word for chicken, then you hold up an egg and you say, "Where is the mother?" Language learners, we kind of have a pass for saying things wrong, right? And sometimes we say things wrong in a funny, comical, and often very embarrassing way. Do I have any approach for online tutoring? If I hire an italki tutor, I want to talk to that person in Thai, in the language that I'm learning, right? I don't want to speak very much English. Now, that's hard at first because I don't know very much Thai at first. Well, now I'm learning progressively more and more. But at first, you don't know very much Thai or very much of the language you're learning. So it's hard to kind of hold a conversation entirely in that language. And I get it. There's ways to get around that, especially if the tutor is able to like share their screen and show you lots of pictures and stuff, and they speak very slowly and they speak very clearly. They repeat themselves and they point to the different pictures. All right, then you understand what's going on, even if you've never learned those words before. Because if I point to a dog and I say perro, perro, and then I point to a cat and I say gato, gato, you're just going to understand the difference between perro and gato, right? And then they tell you a whole bunch of stuff about the dog and the cat, and then you can ask simple questions about the dog and the cat. And it's a whole lot easier than just having a one-on-one conversation in a language that you're a beginner in. I know people live in Russia/Hungary/Spain and speak near native English. Oops, sorry. I know I'm missing a lot of questions. I apologize for that. Okay, this person says, I know people live in Russia, Hungary, Spain, and speak near native English, especially people in their early 20s who grew up watching YouTube TV. Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, people who have very good language skills grew up with a lot of comprehensible input in those languages. They might have near native English. It's very rare to start learning a language in your teenage years and end up speaking like a native. Okay. They're still going to have, I mean, you know, I know people who speak English very, very well and still have an accent. They still make some strange little grammar mistakes that you might not catch, but you also might catch them. Okay. And when I say you'll never be a native speaker, I don't mean to say it's impossible to learn a language very, very well. It is possible to learn a language very, very well after a long time and lots of input and lots of practice. Okay. You can. It's almost impossible to learn a language like a native speaker, though. Like exactly like a native speaker. Daniela Coronado says, my students always ask me about the time to be fluent in Spanish, and I always reply this answer like you. Yeah. Yep, there's no set time. And if you put a lot of effort into it, you can become nearly fluent in 5-6 months. But that's very difficult to achieve. It's going to take you years to become very proficient in a language. But after only just a few months, you can become relatively fluent. Okay. You know, I studied Spanish for 5-6 years, didn't get very far. And then I moved to El Salvador and I developed a certain level of fluency after like 3 months. Maybe not fluency, but I was able to communicate a decent amount. I was able to hold conversations in Spanish and have friendships entirely in Spanish after just a few months. Okay, it's possible. Okay, Amy says, hi, really enjoy your videos. So I'm currently doing linguistics at university, and I would really like some help for morphology, in particular French. I actually never took a morphology class in college. The only morphology classes I ever took were like general linguistics classes that had a morphology section. I did do a video on morphology if you're interested in that, in my Linguistics 101 video series. So, just do a YouTube search for Finctem Linguistics 101 and you'll find it, or like Linguistics 101 morphology, something like that. Do I recommend studying a third language from a second language? You can. I did that a little bit with Spanish and French, right? Because I had already known Spanish, and then I did the Duolingo course, French for Spanish speakers. That's okay. I don't think it makes a huge difference. But if you're trying to maintain your second language, they call that laddering, I think. If you're trying to maintain your second language and you don't want to focus entirely on your third language, yeah, that's fine. You can do that. Do I speak Korean as well? No, I do not. Okay. Also, how would you suggest to start learning a language? Do you have any video links you made? Yeah, I have. I'm sort of semi-regularly working on a new video series I have called Finally Learn That Language, which kind of tells you, it's not specifically designed for people who are just starting. It's designed more for people who have been trying for a while and really not making any progress. But yeah, if you type in Finally Learn That Language, actually, if you just go to my main channel and you just open up the, like my channel, you should be able to see that it's a whole playlist, and it's called Finally Learn That Language. That's one of the video projects that I've kind of been working on for the last 6 months. I've been working on it fairly slowly. I release one video like maybe every 2 months or something, but Davey says, I would follow you on TikTok, but I hate TikTok. What about Twitch? I don't have Twitch. Okay. Megan says, best way to keep a list of set of vocabulary words I want to remember as I see them in a text / learn them in a conversation. In a journal, notes app, flashcards, other ideas. Okay, a list of vocabulary words that you want to remember as you see them in a text / learn them in a conversation. Okay. Few things you can do. I used to keep a physical journal. I carry around like a little purse. Let me show you this. So I take this little, it's like a utility bag, really. I have all kinds of little tools and stuff that I keep in here. And I carry this around everywhere. And I used to keep a little journal in there, and then I would just write down words as I learned them. I did that when I lived in El Salvador. And that works fine if you're old-fashioned like I was. I didn't have a smartphone until like 2 years ago. I had a flip phone. So there's that option. Now I just I have a dictionary, like a digital dictionary for Thai speakers, right? It's this one right here, Thai dictionary. And then, you can go through words, and then you can star words on there. Like you can list some words as your favorite. And then it's nice because this dictionary comes with a lot of example sentences. So that's useful. If you're learning one of the more common languages, then wordreference.com would be a great way to do that. You can click on a star, and then it'll save one of these words as your favorite. And word reference is really good because it has a lot of example sentences, which is key. Another thing you can do, I'm referencing Closemaster a lot in this video because I just started using Closemaster. And I like it fairly well. If you start using Closemaster and you find a sentence that uses the language, uses a word that you're not familiar with, then you can save that sentence and put it in Closemaster, and it'll test you on that word that you don't know in the context of the sentence that you found it in. So that's helpful. Megan says, there are some words and phrases that are useful for me in my job or life that I want to refer back to. Yeah, that's what I would do if I was you. Closed Master can only do closed deletion cards, or is it more flexible than its name suggests? There's like multiple choice cards, and then there's also like it's all fill in the blank stuff. Okay. So there's a multiple choice one, and then there's type in the text yourself, which I never use because really I don't like exercise-based learning. What I want is just a short refresher that shows me a sentence, makes me think about it just a little bit, shows me a sentence and with a word, and it shows me how that word is used in the sentence. That's what I want. So I don't want to have to go through all the trouble of typing in a word and remembering how that word is spelt. No. I like Closed Master because it shows me a sentence, shows me a spot in the sentence, and then I have to figure out which word goes in there. And I can just look at the choices and just click one. And if I don't want, like if it's too hard, then honestly, I just guess. I just click one at random and move on to the next one. Because I'm trying to get through a lot of sentences and see these words in context a lot. I'm trying to go through a whole bunch of material in a short amount of time to get as much exposure as I can. So if I stop and fret a lot over one sentence, that I'm not seeing as much material as I could. So I try to just go through them quickly, and if I don't know the answer, then I just guess. That's the theory anyways. Is Busu better than Duolingo? I've heard that it is. I don't know that it is because I don't use Busu. I guess I should really start trying out all of these different language programs just to see, like, because people ask me about them all the time. The problem is I'm learning Thai, and a lot of these programs don't have Thai. So I don't want to really spend time like learning a language that I don't care about learning just because I want to find out what the program is like. But maybe eventually I'll try them all out. All right. I don't know your opinion about shadowing techniques and its real benefits. Okay. Is that you're referring to like hearing a native speaker say something and then repeating after them? I think that's fine. It's okay. It's very helpful for learning pronunciation. If you want to improve your accent and like learn to pronounce certain vowels and letters and consonants better, sure. It's helpful for that. So that's like what Pimsleur does, right? And I find Pimsleur to be fairly useful as a means of passive study time while I'm doing something else. I don't really want to just sit and listen to a Pimsleur and just focus on that. But if I'm mowing the lawn, if I'm driving somewhere, if I'm working out, while I'm washing the dishes or something, sometimes if I'm cleaning the house, I'll put on a Pimsleur audio and that can be helpful. How did I learn to read Thai? Okay, I found a ebook on Amazon called Learn to Read Thai in 10 Days. And I absolutely did not learn to read Thai in 10 days. But it was helpful in teaching me the Thai alphabet. So that book taught me the letters in Thai. At least it taught me the most common letters, which is what I care about. Because there's so many letters in the Thai alphabet, and a bunch of them almost never get used. So I don't really want the comprehensive method that Thai children go through in school where they have to learn every single letter. I'm like, no, just teach me the Thai letters that I need to know 90% of the time. I don't want to learn the other 15 or 20 letters that get used 1% of the time. teach me the most important material, and then I'll be able to skip over the 1% of time that there comes a new letter that I don't. I still, to tell you the truth, I do not know all of the Thai letters to this day. And that's fine. You know, on occasion, I will see one of those letters in the text that I'm reading, and then I just glance over it, right? I don't even care if I miss one letter here and there. So this Learn Thai in 10 days was helpful for learning the most common letters, because it's one of the only texts that I found that was actually designed to maximize your learning for a non-native speaker, to maximize your early learning at the expense of not comprehensively learning, or comprehensible? Is that the word I'm looking for? Like exhaustively learning the entire alphabet and learning everything there is to know about the Thai writing system. I didn't want that. I just wanted, like, teach me the fundamentals and teach me all of the most important, most common stuff right up front. And, you know, don't teach me all of the very rare exceptions that, sure, maybe someday I'll want to learn those, but it's just not important right now. It's a waste of my time right now. There was that. And then I used the Pimsleur reading guide, which was okay. I guess I can recommend the Pimsleur reading guide because of the lack of other good materials for language learners. And then what I started doing is I would just start reading Thai texts. Okay, I read the Thai Mani Mana books, Mana Mani books, and I read they call it extensive reading, stories on ThaiPod 101. And now I have an app called Mebo, or it's called Meb, M-E-B. Oops, Meb. And I'm still reading through some children's books. Like, this is a comic book for kids in Thai. But I can read it, you know, and I can read through the story. And okay, it's a kid's book, but it's also a graphic novel. Like, it's kind of funny and like it's entertaining. There's enough action in the story to hold my attention, as opposed to when I was reading straight, like, first grader books. You know, Mani goes to school. She likes her teacher. She has many friends. You know, Mani likes dogs. Okay, that's not, you know, it doesn't hold my attention. Whereas this one, at least it's like silly. It's funny. There's a lot of action and stuff. Okay, able to hold my attention a little bit more with the knowledge that I'm also learning the language while I do it. Is the Harry Potter series useful to improve my English? Yes. Yes, it is. Especially if you already are familiar with the Harry Potter books in your native language. Okay, Link doesn't have Thai, though. You're correct. And that's a huge pity. There is another website called Readlang that is comparable, and it has like a beta version of the Thai language, which is cool. Okay. Colorful Creation says, I've been learning Korean for a little over a year. Do you speak Korean? No, I do not. Sorry. Does that work for both the global membership as well as the single language fixed price subscription? I'm not sure, to tell you the truth. I think you're referring to my link. I feel like they chose a very unfortunate name for a link, because I always want to say, like, I have a link to link that will save you a membership, you know, save you 35% on a link subscription. So click this link, you know, and it's just, I don't know. And also, people never know how to pronounce link. L-A-N-G-Q. It's pronounced link, for those who are. Okay, Obed says, habla español, por favor. Okay, hablo español, pero, oops. la mayoría de mis suscriptores no hablan español, entonces hablo inglés. You can probably force yourself to get through the mini stories even as a beginner, but it's not all that pleasant when you know 0 words. Yeah, exactly. The mini stories on Link are fairly easy, but for someone who doesn't know anything, they're not. So I did that with Greek, and it was definitely a grind. And you can force yourself to get through, like you said. It's not pleasant, though. But that's okay. Like, you're still learning. There are more enjoyable ways of beginning. And that's why I say, like, you know, Duolingo is fun at first. If you use Duolingo for 10 minutes a day and you find it enjoyable and you want to keep doing it, keep doing it. You know, like, it's fun. If it's fun, I'm not here to tell you that you can't do something that's fun because it's not the most efficient way to learn a language. Like, do it if it's fun. So I guess that's all I have to say about that. Link isn't very enjoyable if you don't know anything. But once you get to a B1 level in the language, reading a story on Link is probably going to be a lot more enjoyable than going through more Duolingo exercises, you know. Okay, Davey says, my cat gets angry if I point at her and say loud gato. Davey says, I am 19. I won't get fluent. Challenge accepted. No, I did not say you won't get fluent if you're 19. If you start learning a language, I started learning Spanish really when I was 25. Other than like some failed attempts at learning Spanish at school, I was 25 years old when I started learning my second language. I did not say you won't get fluent. I said you won't sound like a native speaker. And you can sound similar to a native speaker. You just won't sound exactly like a native speaker. Hey, Finkdom, I just realized earlier that I can show what messages here. Hey, Finkdom, when do you think it's the right time to move from one language to another? That's totally up to you. It depends on your goals. Do you have a reason to become very proficient in one language? Then maybe wait until you're very proficient in that language to start moving on to the next one. Do you want to just have a broad knowledge of many languages because you're interested in languages and cultures and you just want to know the basics for traveling? You know, if you travel to Europe and you're going to go to Germany and France and Spain, you know, then it's totally acceptable to reach a B1 level so you can just communicate a little bit and move on to the next one. Or learn 2 of them at the same time. You can do that. You just have to be realistic and accept that if you're learning more than one language at a time, you will not reach a very high proficiency in those languages without a long duration of study. It's going to be a lot harder to reach a high proficiency if you're studying 2 languages at the same time, because you have limited time. You can't study all day long, right? If you're learning 2 languages, then you instantly have to divide your language study time in half for each language, as opposed to having 100% of your study time for one. How are you? I've been studying Italian and can understand 70%, but I can talk like a 5%. So how can I improve that? I think this is because I grew up listening to Italian and Spanish in my mother tongue. Okay. You just have to practice speaking then. Hire an italki tutor. Speak Italian to people. Go on Hello Talk, the app, and speak Italian to them. Maybe do the Italian 30-day record yourself challenge or just do the 30-day record yourself challenge in Italian. Okay. Speak Italian. You got to open your mouth. Maybe try out Pimsleur at first. If speaking to real people is scary to you, you can go ahead and give Pimsleur a try. But you have to do something. You have to open your mouth. You have to use your tongue if you are going to learn to speak Italian. If you want to communicate, you have to speak. Okay, what is the most efficient / effective way to teach the basics in a particular language? I am starting to really like the pure comprehensible input approach, right? So rather than saying, okay, hello, today we're going to do a lesson and I'm going to teach you the parts of my face. And first I'm going to teach you the word for eyes, which is ojos. So eyes is ojos, ears is orejas, mouth is boca. You don't need to do that. You can say, hola, yo tengo dos ojos, dos ojos, un ojo, dos ojos, dos ojos. Yo tengo dos orejas, una oreja, dos orejas. Yo tengo dos orejas y dos ojos. All right, I don't understand what language you speak. You understood what I was talking about, right? Yo tengo una boca y una nariz, right? And you can get a lot more exposure to the language that way than if you hear someone say eyes, ojos, ears, orejas, mouth, boca. There's a lot of like word lists with translations on YouTube. And this is what I don't understand. I do not understand how these videos get so many views. Like, let me show you really quick. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Share my screen with you real quick. "200 words every French beginner must know."
Hi, my name is Matilda from.
This is not the video.
I'm 24 years old. Now I'm working as CEO in Untitled.
Want to speed up your language learning? Buy.
Acheter. Acheter.
Can.
Pouvoir. Pouvoir.
Okay, this video is 24 minutes long, almost 25 minutes long. And they go through a list of words and they read the English translation and then they say the French word twice.
Faire. Faire.
And each French word gets said twice in this 25-minute video. Okay, so what that means is if you are learning French and you watch this whole entire freaking video, you spend a half hour of your life watching this video in French, you will get to the end of the video and you will not know any French words that you didn't know at the beginning of the video. Why did you just watch that 25-minute long French video? They read an English word followed by its French translation twice. And then they never came back to it. And you watched them do that 200 times. And you now have spent 24 minutes listening to English and French words, and you don't remember a single one of them. Not one word. And this video has 555,000 views. Who are these 555,000 idiots who spent half an hour of their life not learning French. I don't know. Doesn't make any sense to me. Met says, is the Canada plan still on? No, it's not for now. So I applied at the University of McGill in Montreal for grad school to get my master's degree. Because I studied linguistics and I want to keep studying. And apparently they were a lot more selective than they led me to believe. And I'm not sure if maybe it's because of COVID or something, but so I graduated from college with a 4.0 GPA, and I thought I should be able to get into even like pretty tough school, right? I have a good resume. Apparently, the graduate program for the McGill Linguistics had like 186 applicants, and they only accepted 6. So I was like, if I had known that, I wouldn't have hoped so much. I wouldn't have like banked my expectations on getting into that. But so I'm probably going to end up staying in Thailand for another year, which kind of sucks, but it also gives me another year to learn Thai, which early on I had been like, well, I'm going to learn Thai to a B1 level, and that's like my goal. But now that I have a whole nother year, I have an additional year, over a year, to learn Thai. I'm going to try to learn Thai pretty well. Like, by the time I leave Thailand, I should be able to speak Thai, like, solid. So I'm aiming for like a C1 level, maybe B2, C1, something like that. I'm planning on being able to have a pretty decent level in Thai by the time I leave here. It's a lot more difficult than learning Spanish, I'll tell you that. I lived in El Salvador for a year, and I was fluent in Spanish, But yeah, I'm gonna keep learning Thai. Okay. Do you struggle with different Thai fonts too? I can read the standard font fine, but the fonts they use in food packaging, ads, etc., I really struggle with. Yeah, 100%. It's like trying to learn cursive. It's like trying to read cursive if you've only ever learned to read regular print font in English. Yeah, it's so hard. All right. Brian says, when I used it, Busu had a lot more grammar than I really wanted. That's probably a personal preference thing. Yeah, I can't speak too much to Busu, but if they're teaching you grammar, that seems like a waste of time. Like, you don't need to learn grammar rules. What you need is a lot of exposure to the language and practice using the language. Have you tried Michael Thomas? No. Or Mitchell Thomas? No. No, I haven't. I should, because people ask me about it all the time, but I still haven't used it. Oops. I just lost the comment thread there for a second. Where is it? Okay. ¿Qué te movita a aprender idiomas? Pues vivo en Tailandia, entonces tengo que aprender tailandés por sobrevivir aquí. Y también aprender los idiomas es interesante, es divertido para mí. Okay, Tagalog with Aspinoy. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. It says, new here, do you speak or ever been to the Philippines? No, I do not. I would be interested in going there. I have a lot of friends who have gone there, like during the Songkran break and stuff here in Thailand. It's not that far away, but I just don't know when these COVID restrictions will lift. Okay, Ali says, hey, been learning my family language Italian using MIA, and I got to say that I'm making good progress. Yeah, the mass immersion approach is a solid approach to take. I fall somewhere in between the crowd who says all input all the time and between the crowd who says speak from day one. I do recommend trying to speak from day one, but also remember that you should be taking in lots of inputs as well. That's my opinion. Okay, Ellie says, that interview with Matt helps me clear up some things. Good, I'm glad, that's why I do it. For those who don't know, I've been doing a lot of interviews with a lot of like language learning YouTubers and stuff like that recently, because, you know, I mean, they have a lot of good things to say. And so I'm trying to find more, you know, people who are just willing to come on my channel and just have a chat. And I actually learned quite a bit from them as well. So, you know, if you guys want to recommend anyone. Also, by the way, I'm thinking of starting a new language learning sort of series where I speak my target languages with random native speakers here on this channel. So if you're a native speaker of French or Spanish, or like if you're a really proficient speaker of Esperanto, I guess, or Thai, send me like a comment if you want to be on my channel, because I'm just literally going to accept anyone who offers to have a chat with me in Spanish or French. Mainly Spanish or French. I guess I would do Thai as well. Yeah, definitely Thai or Esperanto, I guess. So if you speak any of those languages very proficiently, let me know and we can have a chat in Thai or in French or Spanish or Esperanto here on my channel. It would be a live stream, you know, but I essentially just wanted to kind of showcase what to do. Okay, a little bit more explanation. I'm actively learning Thai, but I'm not doing a whole lot to maintain my Spanish or French or Esperanto. So I'm going to do like a series on, hey, this is me maintaining my other languages, and I'm just going to show you what I do when I do that. Cool. For those of you who are offering your Spanish skills or your Spanish, you know, abilities, Argentinian accent might be a challenge though. I went to Uruguay one time and it was a little bit hard for me to understand the Uruguayos, but also I was pretty much a beginner in Spanish at that point. Yeah, no, that'd be interesting. You can send me an email at fingtem.languages@gmail.com here. If you're interested in being on my channel, there, I just put my email in the chat. If you're interested in being on my channel and having just a chat in Spanish or French or whatever language you speak, saludos desde Uruguay. Bien, pato potato. Yeah, if you want to be on my channel and you speak one of those languages, yeah, send me an email and we'll be in contact about, you know, when we can do it. And we'll do a live stream. Okay. Link says I know 10,000 German words, but I don't know the alphabet. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think that learning the alphabet is the most important thing to do right away. And it sort of makes sense. Like you think first I learned the fundamentals and then I learned the rest. But that's not the case. You shouldn't learn. It's not that when we learn languages, we're supposed to learn all of the fundamentals before we move on to the next step. That's a common misconception. Don't waste your time learning all of the fundamentals. The first thing you should learn is whatever is most relevant to you. Okay, so let's say you are an astrophysicist and you open up a book that teaches you all of the most common professions. It teaches you teacher, doctor, nurse, construction worker, all of these professions. Are you going to go through that list of professions and memorize all of them before you memorize your own profession? No. Toss that book in the trash, go straight to Google Translate or wordreference.com and type in astrophysicist. That's the first word you learn. All right. You don't need to learn all of the most basic ones first. You learn what's relevant to you. All right. And then it's going to teach you a whole bunch of verbs, which are going to be relevant, right? Like eat, walk, go, see, buy, talk. You know, you want to learn all of these verbs. But you're going to have to learn the verbs that are relevant to what you do. So I don't know, what verbs would an astrophysicist need? Study. Maybe astrophysicist isn't the best one. Let's say you're a photographer. You're going to need to learn how to say take a picture, which might not be the first verb in a beginner book. Okay. But that verb is relevant to you. Take a picture, pose, set up, I don't know. I don't know what verbs are relevant to a photographer either. Okay. But you learn the words that are relevant to you first, not the most fundamental words, the most basic words that the textbook tells you you should learn first. Davey says, Duolingo is boring. And you're not wrong. Okay, what about fluent in 3 months approach for a language like Japanese? Is that even possible? What do you mean by fluent? Okay. Benny Lewis says you can become fluent in 3 months, but he has a very loose definition of fluent. Okay. You will not go to Japan and study Japanese for 3 months and leave speaking Japanese in any way what most of us call fluent. You can spend 3 months learning to have a conversation in Japanese and make quite a bit of progress in 3 months. Okay. Most people wouldn't say that you're fluent, though, if you start from scratch. Okay. If you already have a basic level of Japanese and then you go and study really intensively for 3 months, maybe, that 3 months would be enough to push you from almost fluent to fluent. But I do like Benny Lewis's approach. I think maybe it's a little bit of misleading concept if you don't know exactly what he means by fluent. But I do like his approach of speaking very early on. It gives you that kick out the door to start speaking, because opening your mouth is the scariest part of language learning. Okay. You don't want to sit in your room using Duolingo or even Link or any resource by yourself for too long. You need to start speaking at some point. All right, Hava Alexander says, hi, I'm new here. I'm 49 and learning Turkish. Any tips? I live in Miami. I'm learning the language because I like the language. I've been able to practice a bit with strangers here very often. Okay, every so often, sorry. I've never learned Turkish. One person who I know is learning Turkish right now, or at least was learning Turkish recently, is Steve Kaufman. So you can check out his channel. Learning Turkish is going to be same advice as most of the other languages I talk about. Okay, you can use Duolingo at first. If I don't even know, do they have a Duolingo course for Turkish? You can use courses like that. Pimsleur is good. I find Pimsleur to be decent at the very beginning for learning, for getting a sense of how the language works, getting a basis in it, getting some beginner vocabulary. I like Duolingo for that. As quickly as possible, though, I want to make the transition from prefabricated courses to interesting material, reading material, blogs, news articles. If you can find a YouTube channel that has the news in slow Turkish, or the news in slow whatever language you're learning, that can be very helpful. Link is a very good resource for making incomprehensible material comprehensible. Hello Talk is very good as well. I really like Hello Talk. Okay. Zoro Sola says, when I'm watching TV series or Netflix or listening to a podcast, I can understand almost everything. But when I'm listening to rock music, it's very difficult to understand. Okay, I mean, well, in my opinion, that's a good problem to have, right? I would rather be able to understand Netflix than understand rock music. First of all, what kind of rock music are you listening to? Is it, are you listening to heavy metal? Are you listening to like metalcore? Because I can imagine someone coming to America, learning English, listening to like AC/DC, and they can't understand what they're saying because they don't sing very clearly, right? Or if you're going to listen to like, I don't know, Slayer or Job for a Cowboy, right? These are it's not easy to understand them, even for me. When I was in high school, I listened to Demon Hunter a lot. And could I understand everything they said? No, I could not. So yeah, don't feel bad. I'm a native English speaker and I can't understand everything that they say. How do you memorize conjugations in French? Basically, I don't. The nice thing about French is that most of the conjugations are pronounced very similar, right? Like, je parle, tu parles, il parle, right? Je mange, tu manges, il mange, right? They might be spelt differently, but they're pronounced the same. So I'm like, hey, freebie, shortcut. And then when it comes to writing in French verb conjugations, I just guess. And if I get it wrong, they still understand what I mean. So no harm, no foul. Yeah, so really, truly, that is the answer to your question. I do not memorize verb conjugations in French. Now, like, let's say you want to become very, very proficient in the language. Don't memorize verb conjugations. Just don't do it. Read in the language. And over time, you will start to pick up on when to use the S at the end of the verb. Like, if you spend a lot of time in French and you want to become very proficient in French and you're motivated to keep reading and listening and learning French, it'll come naturally. I just like, do what you want. If you're taking a French course and you have to memorize the verb conjugations because you're going to get graded on it, then okay, then go through the work, do the grind. It's boring. Write little verb charts on your hand. That's what I used to do a lot, right? Like, I would draw a little chart on my hand for like, je mange, tu manges, right? Mangeons or something. I don't even remember all of these, right? Right. And then I would just draw that little thing out. And I guess that would be kind of helpful. I guess you can't do that while you're taking the test, but I would look at it throughout the day. But I just really can't speak to you a whole lot about what you should do if you have to memorize all of the French verb conjugations, because my experience is really like, just don't worry about it and you'll be fine. All right. Pato Potato says, when I study a language, I spend a lot of time watching a TV series in my target language. At first, I watch them with subtitles in my native language, and then I switch to the original language. I've got a friend who wants to learn English but has dyslexia and doesn't like subtitles. So I don't know how to help him with that. Any advice? You could do something like Pimsleur, which is all audio, no reading. Okay. italki, where you're you would just be talking to someone. I don't know enough about dyslexia to know if there's like something specific you could do to like get better at reading. So I don't know, maybe if someone in here has any experience with language learning with dyslexia, they could chime in. Otherwise, I can't be very much help. Okay, so do you think that there's any benefit to altering the speed of your listening practice? Slow, moderate, rapid? Yes. One of the most important things for comprehensible input is that the input must be comprehensible. So if you go to YouTube and you watch a YouTube video of someone speaking Spanish very quickly and it's not comprehensible, it's not very useful. Some people will debate it's okay if the input isn't very comprehensible, whatever. In my opinion, the most useful input is very comprehensible, like 90, 95% comprehensible. And it's just, I don't want to sit and watch a YouTube video if I can only understand 5% of it, or 10, or even 50% of it. So if you can find content that is slowed down for you, and not necessarily content that has been like artificially slowed down. I know you can go on YouTube and you can click 75% speed or 55% speed in order to make the video play slower. That's not what I mean. Go to Extra in Spanish, the sitcom. It's a sitcom called Extra Spanish, and they speak slowly in slow, clear Spanish. And I like that because it's a sitcom. It's interesting. It's funny. It's kind of cheesy. It's like a low budget sitcom, but it's entertaining and it's slow enough for me to catch a lot of what they're saying. Now I can catch everything that they're saying. But when I was first learning, I was able to watch it and understand most of it. Whereas I could have turned on Telemundo and watched a Spanish TV show and not understood anything. Do you think there's any major benefit to listening to only native content podcasts if you only understand 50% plus? I would say there's some benefit to that. Matt versus Japan would probably tell you that there's huge benefit to that. I don't like listening to content when I only understand 50%. I would rather listen to content, comprehensible input content, mind you. I would rather listen to content designed for native speakers, designed for language learners that's slow and easy to understand than native level content that's not designed for me. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Searching for tutors on italki sometimes pops up teachers in your target language for what he was just describing too, although they're still not super common mostly. Okay. Americans, when they try to speak Spanish, sound using their throat. Well, you use your throat when you speak. All right, last question. Are you used to Thai food now? Favorite dish? I like Thai food. I like Kaupat Gai. I like Suki. I like probably Kaupat Gai. I'm a simple guy. I like Kaupat Gai. Nope, that was not an intentional pun there. What else? Tom Yum Goong. Oh, I like green curry, Genkiao one. It's pretty good. I like that coconut soup, like coconut. I don't remember what it's called. Okay. Hello. Any tips on learning a dead language like Latin? I've never tried to learn Latin. I did try to learn ancient Greek once. I don't have enough experience with that at this point. The benefits to learning an ancient language like that is that you're probably mostly interested in reading. I would assume. So do a lot of reading. Okay, once you get to a level where you can read stuff in Latin, just read. Okay, you can get like a grammar primer, and if you're learning Latin, I don't know, maybe you learned Latin in school and they wanted to teach you all of the grammar, they wanted to teach you all of the vocabulary, you got quizzed on whether or not you could remember 100% of what they taught. Like, that's just not the way to learn a language, okay? What you do is you get a book in Latin, and there's weird things now, like Harry Potter translated into Latin, Lord of the Rings translated into Latin. Get one of those books if you're interested in that kind of stuff. All right. It doesn't have to be an authentic Roman text or an authentic text written in proper Latin. Read something that you're interested in. I guess if you're learning Latin, then I don't know, maybe you're interested in reading Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, right? Read something in Latin, because that's probably your goal. Your goal is probably, if you're learning Latin, then most likely I would assume you just want to read in Latin. So read in Latin. Don't worry about understanding everything. Skip over, noun cases that you don't understand. Don't worry about it. Just read. Just read, go through, put down your dictionary. Unless it's a word that's coming up over and over and over and you still don't know what this word means, then you can look it up. But otherwise, just read. Just read. That would be my advice, coming from someone who has never successfully learned a dead language. So take it for what it is. All right, when life gives you lemons, make margaritas. Oh, that's probably in response to me staying in Thailand. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm reading through. Wow. Even though I'm not fluent in Turkish, several times a week, my dreams are in Turkish. This has never happened while learning a language. Is this a sign that the language is being learned? Yeah, I mean, that's good. If you dream in the language you're learning, yes. And that also is a sign that you're like thinking in the language, right? Like rather than translating from your target language, from your native language to your target language, that's good. That's a good sign. Yeah, Brian says, I think rock music, particularly metal, is hard even for natives sometimes. Okay. I've been learning English for almost 3 years now, and I am in what stage? And I am in a stage where I feel stuck and progress seems to be slow. What can I do to get out of that situation? This is where I would say comprehensible input and grammar, not grammar, comprehensible input and conversation practice. Sorry, I've been live streaming for an hour now and my brain is starting to take a toll. Comprehensible input and grammar practice. Read as much as you can. Okay, if you like fiction, if you like fantasy stories, then buy the entire Harry Potter series and read through the whole series. Okay, if you like, I don't know, manga, find some series that has 25 books in the series and read through the whole thing. Watch Netflix in English. Find a YouTube series that you really like. Lots of comprehensible input, and find people that you can talk to in English. Maybe hire an iTalki tutor. Find someone on HelloTalk who's just willing to chat with you in English for half an hour a week or an hour a week. Okay, sorry if I'm missing comments here. I'm trying to get to all of them, but I'm also sort of skimming. Okay, I think that's about it. Okay, Davey says, so you are a comprehensible input guy. Yeah, like we should all be comprehensible input people. Comprehensible input is really powerful. But I'm also a speak from day one guy. I don't think those two things have to be in. Sometimes we make them opposite ends of a spectrum, but I don't think so. I think they're both valuable. Speaking early on and getting lots of speaking practice. Comprehensible input the whole way, and you know, and never stopping comprehensible input, right? I still get a lot of comprehensible input in English. And it's helpful because I learn new words in English all the time through my comprehensible input. So that's that. I think I'm going to end the live stream here. So thanks to everyone who's been watching. I will be back same time next week. Wherever you are, whatever time zone you're in, I'll be here most weeks at this time. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all later. Bye-bye.